people like us are usually, but not always, aliens within our own family, community, and verticals. The only people that understand us are top entrepreneurs on planet. You're either born like this or you're not. I think most people would choose this life, but they're just not, they don't have the IQ and or EQ or the hustle or the courage. If you are born like this, and you're an alien within your own family, community, and vertical, for most of your life, then you're talking to people who have no idea what you're talking about most of your life. So that's a very lonely world.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Jack Boss Show, where we talk about all things real estate, finance, and entrepreneurship. And today's guest, well actually I have my co-host with me, Michelle Bosch, the wonderful and amazing Michelle Bosch. And today we're having a very special guest. We are talking to Justin Breen, who is the founder of airb&b, a global PR firm. He runs multiple companies, has written also the book Epic Life, which is which made it to number one on Amazon and all of sales, plus Wall Street Journal and multiple other top selling lists, or bestseller lists. So, and he's just also an expert about life, not just how to run business, but how to run business in a way that you're living it as an epic life in harmony with your family and other things. So with that said, let's get started. Welcome to the show, Justin.
That was a tremendous intro, and I'm always fascinated talking to entrepreneurial couples that also put their family first. So it's a great honor to be here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is actually one of the reasons why I was very excited about bringing you, here as well and being part of this conversation, because we talk about, in our world about being transformational. And not just being transformational in business, but being transformational across the board, in our entire lives. Mm-hmm. And you epitomize that, you talk about it in your book. And perhaps we can start by saying that I met Justin at 10X. We are part of Strategic Coach, Dan Sullivan's 10X group. You guys also share.
We're part of a group called Abundance 360 by Peter Diamandis. As well as we went through, unbeknownst to it, we went together to a no sugar challenge in January of this year, run by a medical doctor as part of the community of Abundance 360, which is a community of futurists and talk about AI, longevity, health, and all kinds of different things. So we have lots of, Michelle has contact points to you, I have contact points to you, so I'm glad we got you together. So let's get started with just give us a little introduction of who is Justin.
Well, I wish my wife was here. My wife's a full stabilizing human pediatrician, so I wish she was here to answer that question because she'd probably just laugh. But I'm a simplifier, meaning most of my day is talking to true visionary futurists that are all over the place, and then I hear blah blah blah, and then simplify into patterns. And I'm ultra focused on only two things, because to me less is more. So one is spending time with my family, full stabilizer human wife, and then our 9 quickstart 2 follow through maniac sons who are 8 and 10, or talking to the world's top visionaries and then connecting them to the other top visionaries on the planet. I have found all this business owner stuff takes care of itself by focusing on those two things.
Awesome. Okay, so how does so
right now, Justin, for our audience, there's a part of our community that knows, especially if they're in our coaching program under Land Profit Generator, that understands Kolbe, because we actually Kolbe every single one of our team members and every single one of our clients.
Yes.
And you just talked about, my kids are quick starts. My, my wife is this, I am that. I think you're an 8671, right? So what does that mean? Tell us.
Wow. So that's one, it means I'm a unicorn. If you meet another 8671, I actually would like to meet that person. I never have. Most of the folks that I talk to, not all, but most of them in Kolbe, which is Kolbe. It's not the cheese, it's the A index test. But most of the folks that I talk to are very high quick start, boom, 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 idea. with little to no follow through. So that's ADD, ADHD, diagnosed or undiagnosed. It's not a disorder. It's a sign of genius mislabeled by humans. And then I'm the very, 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 very rare visionary that has high quick start, boom, 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 and high follow through and high fact finder. So say it, do it, hit the gas, pump the brakes, hit the gas, pump the brakes. And so it's like ADHD meets minor Asperger's. And then my wife is a stabilizing human. So she's lower quick start, higher follow through, higher fact finder, which I'm endlessly grateful for. Endlessly grateful.
Yes.
So yeah, the Kolbe is a company founded by Linda Kolbe or Kathy Kolbe or something. Kathleen Kolbe, located I think in Phoenix, Arizona. They basically test. You do the test. It costs like $50, and it's the Kolbe A test, and it tests you. Ultimately, gives you results in 4 different areas of life. One is fact finding, the other one is follow through, the next one is quick start, how fast you basically like to take action, and the last one is whether or not you have whether you visualize solutions or you actually want to be more hands-on. And so we have taken that test ourselves. Everyone in our team members, all our coaching students take it, and you obviously live and breathe it because
everything.
You use it in your language right there, all right from the get-go. It's really a critical, and it's a beautiful way to test each other because it allows you to really communicate better. And what impact has it played in your role in your life to use
Everything. So I see the world in numbers and keywords, mostly numbers. And then the only thing I write down before I meet someone is their name and their Kolbe score, because I immediately know who I'm talking to. So first of all, you're a 6 fact finder. So that's pretty high. So thank you for your 6 fact finder response to my 8 fact finder response to your question. And then it's interesting because when I was talking to Michelle the first time, she was listed as a 5 quick start, and I go, you're not a 5 quick start. And then she retook it, and she wound up being a 9. And she goes, how do you know that? And I go, because I know the answer. I mean, I can hear it. And then when you know the answer, you can focus on the answer and eliminate non-answers. So the purpose of my life, besides hanging out with my family, is to be connecting superhero for every visionary. So not human, not business owner, not consultant, just pure visionary who shares their stories with the world, not there. And again, the overwhelming majority of visionaries are 8, 9, or 10 quick starts. I'm the exception as a 7. And then they have, little to no follow through. So think high quick start, lower follow through. So it's
that
mostly understanding vision. Well, right. There's the answer.
Yeah. So they give some people to give the world an indication on that. So my numbers are 6, 4, 8, 3. So my highest number is the quick start.
Right.
So I'll just like to do stuff. Ideally, though, when you want to do something or when you have an idea and you take action, you need to follow through on it.
Right.
So it would be ideal that with a high quick start, you actually also have a high follow through, but most entrepreneurs don't have that.
Almost none, except me.
The follow through, right?
Right.
And so I have ideas, and then they die 3 minutes into it because nobody's there to follow through on them. And that's, as an entrepreneur, that's really critical to know. And that's how you need to build your team around you
and your network
with people that actually take your ideas and follow through with them, right?
Right. That's correct. So if you combined you with someone who could follow through, it would be me. And that's why it's so rare. That's why 8671 is such a unicorn score. But it's really funny because my intros are basically so Michelle's a 5592. I can't remember what you used to be, but except that you were a 5 quick start. But so my intros now would be 5592 meets 6483. So it's not names. It's not what they do. I don't care what somebody does. That's meaningless to me. I want to know if they're going to actually do something. And then, so, you know who you're talking to. And then, I would say not all of them, but most of my intros are 3393 meets, 2210-4 or something, something like that. So
crazy quick starts. Basically it's people that, thrive in spontaneity, and that are perfect for innovation, to bring something new back if they learn something, and then have someone in the team basically carry that, that idea through and maximize on the idea.
Yes.
Jack and I, over the years, because I used to, and I to be frank, was really amazed and surprised how over a time period of almost 12 years,
Yes.
There's been like a rewiring based
100%.
on the roles that we have basically taken inside of our companies, because we've had the privilege and honor of killing each other and working together
Right.
for now almost, I don't know how
Entrepreneur
many years, over 20
Yep.
years. And
Right.
we have basically taken turns in our, in the visionary roles,
Right.
across different lines of business. And I was surprised how much it's changed, but how important it has been that we have had one of us at some point be the integrator for the other, or
Yes.
the visionary for each other, and so on and so forth, and have those roles be defined and understood so that they can be complementary versus being a detriment, to
Right.
to the business, to the marriage, to the family
Right.
unit,
Right.
in general. Because why are we becoming entrepreneurs and building businesses for? It's to live out a certain level of freedom, but
Mhm.
also to bring out, each other's purpose into the
Yes.
world, and to support each other, and so on and so forth. And you can't do that if there is not this, two people basically playing tango and each understanding what each brings
Yes.
to the table.
It's a beautiful dance. And then I believe your 15-year-old daughter is a 4-5-5-6. So that's a mediator. And that's a perfect team player. And then so I was a journalist for 20 years. You don't get into journalism for employee count, revenue, office space. I mean, that stuff's fine. I just don't, it's not my thing. And so the greatest joy by far of being an entrepreneur is that our sons who are 8 and 10 get to see this world exists. And then I'll give you an example, because talk is meaningless without an answer. We're my wife and others are helping create an updated logo for Second Company, which is essentially LinkedIn for people like us. If I had tried to build that by myself, I would have electrocuted myself. But my partner, who's a 1596 visionary integrator, he's the backstage for that, but a bigger visionary. But anyway, so my wife and others are helping design the new logo, and then our 10-year-old and 8-year-old son are helping with that as well. And I actually just posted it today, the one of the logos that my 10-year-old helped design. It's really good. So most children don't even know this world exists. They don't even, I mean, I'm guessing you did, first generation immigrant, complete burnout, 2011, you didn't, you didn't know this world exists. So it's important. It's the critical for my children to understand this and that they're involved from day one. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity for them.
Yeah. So how does your life look like when you say you're in? Let's talk about the concept of like you said somewhere, there's something about the smallest rooms provide the highest values.
Yes.
And for you, the most important and the smallest room with the absolute highest value is your family. But can you tie that? Can you explain that concept, how it applies to you and your life and your family, but also to business?
That's a very high IQ, tremendous simplification and context. So thank you for that. So again, my brain turns everything into patterns. And again, was a journalist for 20 years. So business stuff it's genuinely confusing to me. And my brain simplifies everything into patterns, everything. So I just keep making bigger investments to be in smaller rooms, but the people in those rooms are making bigger impacts.
Yeah.
That allows me to spend biggest investment, biggest check in smallest room, which is my family, where I can make the most impact. So I just keep writing bigger and bigger checks to be in smaller rooms, but it's people like you that are in those rooms. And then that allows me to spend the most time with my family, which is what I care about most.
Okay, let's try to bridge that. Let's take that piece and try to bridge that for our audience. So you're writing the biggest checks to be in the smaller groups,
Yes,
because of the quality of the people in that group. And
bigger
100% agree
impact.
with that. I like,
Yes.
bigger impact. I mean, when I joined the abundance, people sometimes come to us like they want to spend $100 and get the world. Well, for $100, you don't get the world, because you're in a group with a bunch of people that just want to spend $100. You're
No
not in
impact.
a quality group, right? There's no impact. It's just a bunch of people who want to get something for the cheap, and that's your surroundings. Right. That's the universe that you live in. So you're surrounded by a bunch of cheap people. Well, if you're in a room that you pay $25,000 or $50,000 for, you're in a room with other people they're spending that money for, and then the goal is not to get $25,000 or $50,000 out of that room.
No,
the goal is to connect with those human beings, and then something from that quite likely will have not a $50,000 or $25,000 or $50,000 impact, but an infinite, $1 million, or not even sometimes.
No. I don't even look at it like it's immeasurable. I get to spend as much time with my family as I want to. That's immeasurable.
Yeah.
Right. Because of some of the things you learn in those groups, right?
Yeah.
So you're spending your time, that's for the bridge I'm trying to make here. So how come you spend more time with your family by joining those groups?
Man, your brain. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's like German engineering brain with super high IQ. I mean, that's so my intuition is like off the charts. And I'm actually less bored than an average human, because I'm constantly in my zone of genius, what I like to do and what I'm good at, unique ability. So like, I never get bored talking to people like you. Okay. Yeah. So, and again,
I haven't been bored for years either. I don't know what that means.
Right. It's right. Cause you're like, how could you get bored talking to people like this? I mean, it's so, okay. So, and just to land the plane, cause I think this is important. People like us are usually, but not always, aliens within our own family, community, and verticals. The only people that understand, thank you for validating that. But it's the only people that understand us are top entrepreneurs on planet. So I'm convinced you're either born like this or you're not. I think most people would choose this life, but they're just not, they don't have the IQ and or EQ or the hustle or the courage or, whatever that is. And that's fine. It's just, you're either born like this or you're not. But if you are born like this, and you're an alien within your own family, community, and vertical, for most of your life, then you're talking to people who have no idea what you're talking about most of your life. So that's a very lonely world.
Yes, I have always felt like the mothership left me until I found, other groups of other people that actually value transformation over transaction,
Yes.
And that's valuable to me.
And
not just because I'm now the alien that is not alone, but because there's other people that are wired like we are, and that can basically see the value in those networks. Yeah.
100%. And then, Jack, you asked brilliantly why that allows me to spend more time with my family, because when you're in rooms with the right people we only partner with visionaries who live in abundance and who look at things as investments, not costs. That's it. Visionaries who live in abundance, who look at things as investments, not costs. So those people are very hard to find at first. I would venture to say that's maybe 1 out of 1,000 humans. But most people live in scarcity. They think that's a small number. They don't understand abundance. And so if it's 1 out of 1,000, if there's 8 billion or so people, that's 8 million. So there's 8 million of us's out there. That's a lot of people. And then they're the ones that create the coaching programs or the real estate programs that actually help everyone else. So I just connect people like us to people like us. And then that eliminates, all this other stuff. It eliminates.
Yeah, there are many billions that are
it helps everyone.
Else. Yeah.
And then
so
I just want to spend time with my family. So making those connections and then people like you connecting me to other people like that, it allows me to do what I'm supposed to do. Certainly it's very profitable. And then that allows me to spend time with my family, which is what I care about most.
So thank you for saying that, because obviously, since we're kind of thinking of the three of us thinking alike, I expected that to be the answer, but I want to make sure that it translates out to the
You're
audience.
a relator. You're a relator.
That listens to that. I'm Michelle's like, apparently I'm a simplifier too to some degree. So I'm taking.
Oh yes.
I'm taking these concepts and I'm trying to make sure that somebody listens to this podcast and hears it, that it gets translated into a language that they understand. So in essence, what you're basically saying is like, your genius zone, your zone of where you love being all day long, which everyone should find for themselves, whatever that is. But in your case, it is connecting these entrepreneurs that are visionaries, live in abundance, and see things as investments, not expenses, with each other. And your service obviously helps them tremendously in certain ways. We'll get into that into a little bit. And as a result, you run a profitable business, but as a result also you get to do this in a way that it doesn't consume your entire day, and therefore you have lots of time to spend because you're laser focused. You're not in the minutia of day-to-day things, because you would die in there. You have people in your company that do that for you,
right?
But probably some of the things of how to build those structures and things you also learned in those rooms that you're paying for. And as a result, now you get to live a life that you have a profitable business, but also enjoy your life.
So one, thank you for that description. I'm guessing that helped you understand it, which then you related it to your audience. So now I see how your brain is like an engineer, scientific brain that needs to like boom, boom, boom.
He learns by communicating.
Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah, right. So if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, you're a hypocrite. So you're a clarifier. So you can clarify. Yeah. I mean, I understand. Okay, so I understand. And then, so in Strength Finders, Gallup Clifton Strength Finders world, there's 34 of them. 34. Almost everyone I talk to is top 5 in ideation and/or futurist. So they're often wherever that world is, but they have a mix of activator, maximizer, achiever. So they're often that world, but we'll do something about it now. I'm actually almost dead last in ideation. Very, very few good ideas. But
ideation means having good ideas or having ideas.
Or new ideas.
Yeah, you like it, and so your 8 quickstart took over and you said, I have to explain this. So you have to use your engineering brain, which is very, very interesting. And again, that's why I write down Kolbe, because I can hear it now when you're actually.
Which, by the way, I'm not an engineer, but
well, yes, you are. You're definitely a verbal communication engineer for sure. There's no. Definitely. Yeah. So engineer, you're an engineering of communication, but then I can just like, my top 5 are activate, maximize, achieve, competition, responsibility. So I just hear blah, 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 and then simplify, and then go, intro, never stop. And that's a lot of fun because, you talked about being consumed with work. None of this is work for me at all. This is just fun. Like I would just do this all day anyway. In fact, I did do this when I was an entrepreneur who happened to be a journalist for 20 years. So really nothing's changed except the way that it's being orchestrated.
So that is awesome. Now, I assume though that your company also has some mundane tasks like accounting, like HR and things like that. That would probably bore you to death to get into on a daily basis.
No, I wouldn't. No. So thank you for saying that. And then for second company, my partner, who's a 1596 Kolbe, that is also a unicorn score. If you meet another 1596, he's also in 10X Strategic Coach. We've met 2 times in person. We met virtually. He's the backstage. He handles all of that. I'm not a manager. So what I see and hear in this world, because simplify everything into patterns, people like us, they start as pure visionaries, creators, and then somehow they become business owners, and they're not business owners, and they become miserable. So I am not a business owner. I'm just a pure visionary, and I know I just want to stay in my visionary role at all times, and then it's fun, and then just finding people or them finding me to do all this other stuff that I don't want to do.
Right. Now, somebody's listening here, and he has a typical more of the engineering profile, which again in a Kolbe world would be more like an 8753, like Michelle used to be.
Yeah.
Right. And by the way, the Kolbe actually supposed to not change.
12% of the time it changes. 12% of the time.
12% of the time. And usually
the weirdos even there.
And usually it changes because you have some really more dramatic life event that changes, that rewires you, which in Michelle's case was an illness that she went through for many, many years. And so that rewired her into her quick start, which now explains why for a few years ago, she says, like, I don't want to do operations anymore. She used to love operations because she was wired for the operations. And then all of a sudden, like, I have no more interest in running operations. I'll die running operations. Right. So it makes total sense. So the Kolbe is a really brilliant kind of thing to use. But if somebody has like more of this engineering profile of like an 875 something, which is like high fact finder, high follow through, like needs to research everything, needs to organize everything,
put everything into
systems, and that person wants to be an entrepreneur. How would you recommend somebody like that goes about that? Because we talked about
marry a quick start. Marry a quick start and
marry a quick start.
That's my one. Don't talk to me because it's too painful. Or
partner with one.
Partner with. Well, because I'll get so for once in my life I'll slow down. So I'm a 7 quick start. My partner is a 9, but he's backstage. So he's a visionary integrator, full backstage, but a bigger visionary than me. So I'm like, just do whatever you want. He'll take company to levels I never even would have thought about because he's a 9 quick start. But in 6 years as an entrepreneur with zero business background, zero. I don't even know what an S corp is still because I don't want to actually learn that. But like we've partnered with 2 people, only 2 under a 7 quick start that I know of, only 2. So the 5, the 6, the 5, the 4s, 1, I would definitely partner with a higher quick start. 2, I would marry one. When it's a low quick start, partnered, and I've seen this and heard this so many times, and I'm sure you both have as well, but if it's a low quick start, high follow through, high fact finder, either marry to and or business partners with a low quick start, high follow through, high fact finder, it's an endless discussion, endless with very little execution. Maybe 3-4 years later,
paralysis analysis,
it's just right. And it's, for me, I'm an activator. So for me, it's too painful. So I'm aware of that, very high self-aware. I just don't have those conversations anymore. Like I'll talk to a lower quick start one time, but twice in 6 years, they've actually done something. So it's like, well, what's the point of having this conversation?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So listen, guys, if you have a low quick start, if you do the Kolbe, just be aware that the low quick start is probably your biggest hurdle to success.
Yes.
Because you'll want to do everything so perfect that you'll never take action. And you need to be aware of that. And having a low quick start is not a life sentence. It's not something that you can't overcome. Because what I love most about the Kolbe is that they say, like, you can step into those things. Like, for example, I'm a 4 follow through. My office is a freaking mess. But you know what? If I really need to, I can say, you know what? Today I'm going to clean up my office. I'll hate it. But I clean up my office all day. I can go and put everything in order. And if I need to jump into operations and I need to create processes and organization, everything in a department, I can do that for a few weeks or even for a few weeks. And because I like the result at the end, which allows us to take more action quicker. So it's not a sentence that you said you can't. It's just that it's not your preference. It's not how you're wired.
Yeah.
Right. So I would recommend everyone go to Kolbe, Google it, take the A assessment, and then whatever it is, just if you come out that you're a low quick start, just be aware of it and monitor it, how it stops you from doing things, and then actively step into it and overcome those and still do it in spite of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, talking about, how we're wired, and sometimes part of the wiring is also, the circumstances, our past, what our origins are. And for many people, that are not able to move forward, it's because they either have no clarity about what the past is, or the meaning that they're giving to that past doesn't really allow them to be empowered to go out there right now in the present and create a bigger future. I remember having a conversation with you, Justin, where you were like, wow, Michelle, you've always been in real estate in some way, shape, or form. And that origin story really gives you an opportunity to have a true north Can you expand on that and how, for example, your past or your origin story has given you the opportunity to now go out there, with your book and create global companies, global partnerships, while putting your family first? Can we put that into perspective?
I see why you two are married, right? I mean, you two, it's like a tango with how you communicate and then ask questions. It's super fun. And you're both huge brains. I mean, huge. So you must have the most interesting conversations off camera. But so again,
some of them are about this, like wanting to come on, let's do my idea or implement my idea.
Yeah. So my wife and I are both 8 fact finders, and we have really fascinating discussions. And her 4 quick start is now probably a 5 or a 6, and she takes chances now that she never would have done before. So that's exciting. But okay, so to actually answer your question, I talk to a lot of folks that don't know where they come from, so they don't know where they are, and then they don't know where they're going. So they're Jack's office that hasn't been cleaned up because they don't know where the mess even came from. So they're staring at it with a bunch of mess, and then they don't know where the office is going, except it's messier. See, I tried to relate there. I tried to do what your brain does, Jack, with you and your office. But so I know where I come from at like the very highest level. So that allows me to know where I am, and then most importantly, know where I'm going. And then again, litmus test for people I serve. So that helps me allow people to understand where they come from, like our conversation, Michelle. So then you know where you are, and then you know where you're going. But just very quick, simple understanding background. Again, you're either born something like this or you're not. I strongly feel that. So my dad was 61 when I was born. 61, and my mom was 27. My father would be 107 now if he was alive. He was a World War II hero. Again, shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute. Got back into the plane. So that's my litmus test. You two are both shot down multiple times, many times without a parachute. Just get back into the plane. That's certainly both of you. Okay, and then my dad became attorney in Nazi war crime Nuremberg trials. Came from nothing, and he died when I was 13. After he died, I found a diary of him fighting in the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest, which was a very deadly battle towards the end of World War II, Belgian-German border. Every day, there's in the Epic Life book, there's several entries from that diary. Every day gets more and more horrific. If ever an excuse kind of pops into my mind, I'll go read that diary, and the excuse goes away. So that's my dad. And then when he was in his late 50s, a drunk driver hit him. Drunk driver killed. Dad broke every bone in his body but survived. And then my mom was his nurse. She was 27 when I was born. So my dad woke up, thought he was dead, and thought my mom was an angel, but it was my mom. And then so all I do is talk to people like us. Endless drive, endless hustle. I have not met anyone in my life with more hustle than my mom ever. So she's the ultimate no excuses. And then so I'm the product of that. I'm the product. And then my brain simplifies, like, it's a pattern. So this is what entrepreneur life actually is. Not business owner, not human, not consultant, just pure visionary entrepreneur world. I haven't met one person like us. Certainly in the last 2 years, that hasn't been at least 3 of these 4 things. Most of the people I talk to now are all 4, most of them. So these are the 4 things that separate people like us from everyone else.
Okay, can you just mention the 4? Name them one more time.
Yes. So 1 is bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, highest level of anxiety that you can imagine. 4, likely and or possible traumatic experiences as a child or young adult. So for vast majority of society, those are excuses. People like us figure it out. That is what entrepreneur life actually is.
Wow. Yeah. I don't think we had bankruptcy, but we certainly grew up in situations, in our home countries where we didn't have, the most amount of resources. And so that's one of the biggest drivers is building and creating a life bigger than the one that we left.
Right.
traumatic experiences, at least for me, I didn't know that we have a situation where both our parents basically pass away when we're both very young.
Right.
So there you have that.
Check.
Anxious. Well, I'm always, trying to anticipate as a visionary the future. And I'm like, how can I, in every decision that you make and that you take, you're always thinking about, well, how is that going to affect my current customers right now, my current team right now, and my team in the future, in the company of the future,
Right.
And so there is a level of anxiety there.
Check.
And the emotional roller coaster with just being an entrepreneur, the high highs and the low lows.
Okay.
The lows are really low. It can be depressive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think I'm the exception in that, probably, because I don't think I've ever had depression. I sleep like a baby no matter what. So there's not much anxiety. We put everything on the line a bunch of times. That's not necessarily bankruptcy, but basically we used every dollar we have. The thing that's like high risk
That's
tolerance.
potential bankruptcy.
Yeah, okay, there we go. That's potential bankruptcy. That's correct. And I pretty much had I believe, a quite happy childhood. So unless
you are
there's
the
something that I don't
unicorn.
remember.
You are the unicorn.
That's actually his spirit animal.
Got lots of unicorn
right.
t-shirts and things. So, but hey, at least one out of two, that makes for a good combination here. So, no, that's interesting. But it's actually whether or not I've experienced it or not, I find that to be 100% true. Because, and I find especially the statement that you added at the end, that most people use those things as excuses. And the entrepreneurs actually use it as a reason to charge forward. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. So one, you seek what you need to heal. So for you or for Michelle, you're that unicorn. You're that kind non-anxiety. That's so I'm sure that's why she's attracted to you, because it's like, here, this calm. I mean, that is, in this world, I can't even tell you.
How important
you're the only one.
He's
a ground. So even though you're not a stabilizing human by any means, but then you're a stabilizing force.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely are. I don't remember.
Even though I think you have had a little bit of I don't know if it's a traumatic experience, but an experience that probably did live an imprint. Jack actually and his family lived in Argentina when he was very young, a child. So at some point, actually Spanish was his primary language. He comes back to Germany. And because of that, change in language and culture and everything that was going on, you had a speech,
a little bit of a speech issue, and then overall, I mean, there's a couple of things, but I wouldn't call them traumatic, but yeah, I mean, they can be construed and to be some of that, but yeah, I mean, that would take it perhaps one of four, but either way, I find it fascinating that that you say that you haven't met, out of all the top entrepreneurs that you talk to, you haven't met a whole lot that don't have 3 out of those 4.
No, you're the first in years. You're the first.
That's a fascinating kind of thought, and I don't know if that shows that entrepreneurs are crazy or entrepreneurs are.
No, they're aliens. They're aliens within their own family, community, and verticals. And so there's four types of entrepreneurs. 4 types. One is ADD. What's that?
Also, you have to be a little bit of a rebel, even within your family,
Right. Regular humans never going to do it. They're not going to. But the 4 types. One is ADHD, ADD, diagnosed or undiagnosed. Again, it's not a disorder. 2 is minor Asperger's. My wife, who is a doctor, has unofficially diagnosed me with that. 3 is dyslexia. You can't learn 3.
Look at that.
That's me.
Right. Thank you. And then 4 is exceptionally high IQ and or EQ. Yeah. So regular humans are different. We're just different. We're just wired completely differently.
Which at the end of the day means, what you said earlier, if to bring that back is that, the people that are out there changing the world, making an impact, being of service, being transformational, that we have used all of these things not to define us, but we have gone out there and changed the world, in our own way. Yes. Because of these things, and yes. have channeled them and used them in a constructive way that is, that has been able to heal us and at the same time heal others of possibly the same stuff.
I just love how both of you not only relate to the audience, but really clarify what I'm saying and then add value to it. That's a great gift. Most people, even visionary entrepreneurs, cannot do how you're able to communicate. So that's a wonderful thing. But again, like, there are no excuses at this level, not at this level, only action and investment. So with these things, these four things that, again, most people don't understand or can't relate or think it's a negative, people like us understand that that's where the learning and the channeling and the transformation actually, that's where it actually comes from. Mm-hmm. And it's a very lonely world at first, unless you are in like a family like this that can help teach you this. The education system doesn't teach you this. It's because it's led by humans, and that's fine. My wife says 3 words to me before parent teacher conferences: don't say anything. So I keep my mouth shut. But then again, so the kids come home and we talk about, people's Kolbe scores. We talk about why visionaries and entrepreneurs have so much time to hang out with their children. They help design logos for companies. They've both started businesses already. Very small ones, but that's what's exciting about it. And then they sit in on like Abundance 360 or strategic coach things, and they absorb it. So that's, to me, to see what they're able to do with this, that's more exciting than what I'm doing. I mean, I just can't wait to see what they do. I'm so happy for them.
Very similar experience here. Our kids, we have one daughter. Our daughter is 15, and even when she was little, she's like asking, like, Dad, why are you the only dad in school helping out?
100%, 100%.
Because the other ones are all doctors and attorneys and professionals and managers, and they don't have time. And then when we take a 6-week trip to wherever we go, she's like, they can't. The other ones can't do that. So she's already. I mean, she wants to go to college and everything for the experience.
Fine.
But even in college, I tell her, Sophia, you're going to college for 2 reasons. Yes. Number 1, to have a ton of fun, and number 2, to meet a lot of people.
Network.
Because the network, and that's why you want to go to one of the top schools in the country, because those people are going to go down the traditional routes into influential positions, and you're going to be friends with them for the rest of your life. And that creates a fantastic network for the rest of your life. But you're not going to go you're not going to go down their path. Or she doesn't want to go down their path of working as an attorney or as a manager or as a thing in different kind of company. She's going to go in the entrepreneurship path, but has that network at her disposal then for the rest of her life.
And she's a mediator with her Kolbe and can relate to people. So that is a massive. Right. So your daughter is my children 5 years in the future, basically. I mean, that's really what it is. And then I've taught we live in Chicago area. So I've taught an entire generation of children how to play baseball and football, because their dads it's not funny. It's actually not funny, but their dads are never at school. And then at school drop off, or pickup, like I don't even talk to the adults, because I don't really know what to say. Like, I don't understand water cooler stuff, so I just play football or baseball or catch with my kids and their friends. Because I found also the really great entrepreneurs, the really great ones, no matter their age, they're like little kids, like very childlike wonder mindset, like a child. And so, like, regular society hasn't beaten that wonder out of us, and it never will. And so I relate far more to my children and their friends than an adult at pickup or drop off, for sure.
Before we wrap up, that is beautiful. And I agree with 100% of that. Yeah, so before we wrap up, though, I want to jump into perhaps just some more tactical, simple things of, like, So what does your company actually do for an entrepreneur? If somebody's listening here says like, okay, this is fascinating. I love the way Justin thinks and so on. But what does his company do?
Okay.
Or give us an example of an amazing visionary that you basically connected with, another amazing visionary, and they've gone out there and done amazing things.
Okay. Thank you. I'm a simplifier. My company does one thing, for one type of person. It is a 4-step process. The entire process is on the website. There are no tricks, no gimmicks, nothing. It's one thing, 4 steps. I was a journalist for 20 years, created entire business based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. I don't know what PR firms do. All my company does is write stories. Comes a link on partner's website under news or blog. That link is sent to us. We send it to media. Media is immediately interested, and we put them in touch with partner to do interviews. That's literally all we do. One of our partners.
I love this. Stories about amazing humans out there doing incredible things.
Changing the world. Otherwise, I get bored. One of our partners is Jack Schuler Scholar Foundation. Jack Schuler, and certainly not all of our partners are billionaires, but he is one of them. But so over the last 20 years, he's giving away all of his money to help underserved children in Chicago, Milwaukee area, go to schools like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford for free. And so we constantly write about the foundation and then the students that are highlighted, and then we connect them to media opportunities. So it certainly doesn't have to be a billionaire or someone to that level, but it does need to be someone who thinks like that and wants to really change the world.
Okay, and then so once you put them out in the media gives them the opportunity for interviews, radio, television, newspaper, etc. So it helps create massive exposure. And obviously, if you do only one thing in the world, you're the best in the world on that.
So I was talking to this very high level entrepreneur who has revolutionized healthcare and insurance in Canada. So that's pretty hard to do. And he was telling me, because this is how I learn in real time, he's like, if you're not going to be the best at something, then don't do it. So I'm the best in the world at this thing. And then I'm a pretty good dad, decent husband, and then I don't do anything else. Nothing.
Wonderful. That's 3 full-time. That's 3 full-time roles right there. That's enough.
That's correct.
Wonderful. And so how can somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to learn more about you and learn about your company or connect with you in whichever way?
Which my quick start is telling me, Jack, we need to connect.
Yes, absolutely.
The company is brepicllc.com, BREPIC LLC.com.
brepicllc.com. Okay, we're going to put that into the show notes. And so everyone, go check it out. If this is something for you, then make sure you get in contact with Justin and his company. Good.
Justin, I just wanted to thank you for coming on our podcast and just being the transformational 10x thinker that you are, collaborative, and just I've learned so much about patterns that you see, because your brain is uniquely wired to see those that I wasn't seeing, even though we have been entrepreneurs all our lives. And we've talked about family, we've talked about being of service, we've talked about unique ability and really how that unique ability turns into your life purpose, so that you every single day can keep the main thing at the end of the day. And the main thing for you is 3 things. It's the impact that you're doing in the world, being an amazing dad, and being an amazing husband.
Yes, that is correct. That's it. And then Earl Nightingale, he's the OG. He's Dan Sullivan and Peter Diamandis before them. And so my favorite quote of his is, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal." Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So unique ability, zone of genius, massive transformative purpose, those are all the worthy ideals. And then progressive realization, I just keep getting better and better and better and better and better at purpose of life and being good dad, being good husband. And then all this other stuff I found is taking care of itself.
Yeah.
And that's probably the perfect ending to our podcast. So with that said, thank you very much for being with us, Justin. We talked about a lot of things, and this is how entrepreneurs really think. We're aliens out there. We're not normal. We don't want to be normal. We don't fit the normal. We don't fit the normal mold. We die in big structures. So if you feel some of that has spoken to you, there we go. A unicorn duck.
That was a unicorn.
Everything. I got the unicorn piñata at home. I got the unicorn t-shirts at home. I got we're silly, we're goofy, and we love being that because you know what? There's no better life to live than the life that really reflects how you really are.
Yeah, that's the ultimate freedom, is to be who you really are. And we get to be that. So thank you for exemplifying that. And I'm looking forward to, chatting some more.
And see you guys in the next episode. Thank you very much.